Hey there and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Katie. I'm a dietitian and personal trainer here to help you get strong, confident, and connected with your body by mindfully fueling your muscles. So typically on my channel, we do nutrition, mindful eating, and fitness videos. Today, we're gonna do something kind of related to all of those things, but it's gonna be a little different than normal. So next week, my birthday is August 20th. By the time you get this video, it might be past that, but nonetheless, I wanted to do a video on the 28 things that I learned in 28 years. So to make sure this video is not 100 years long, I'm going to split it into two videos and two topics. So part one will be all things nutrition related that I have learned, and then the next 14 things will be 14 things I learned about more general wellness, mental health, and anxiety, since that's something I've had a lot of experience with in my life, unfortunately. So let's get started on this conversation. I don't know if it's like life advice more so, or tips, or whatever you want to call it. I kind of want it to just be kind of like a chill conversation about life because, well, I'm an INFJ. I like to talk deep about stuff and I like to give advice. That's just how I am. So I want to share with you guys what I have learned in my 28 years of life on this earth. That may not seem like a lot to some of you, and to those of you younger folks, I probably seem like I'm 100 years old. So yeah, we're just gonna ignore the fact that I'm closer to 30 than I am 20 now, but anywho. Nonetheless, I am blessed and I feel like I've learned a thing or two along the way, so I just wanted to talk with you guys today about the things that I've learned. So let's get started with part one of the things that I've learned in terms of nutrition. The first thing that I'm gonna say, and that maybe some of you that already know me probably saw coming, was that healthy eating really doesn't have to be as complicated as we make it. There's so many fad diets out there, diet culture schemes, MLMs that are trying to sell you their shakes, and it honestly just can be mind-numbing how much information is out there, and it's just way too easy to take advantage of people that may not know as much about nutrition as someone else. Unfortunately, there's just way too much room out there for misinformation and for people to kind of just be selling you a product. And trust me, diet culture makes billions of dollars every year feeding off of people's fears and anxieties and insecurities, and honestly, it makes me kind of sick. Eating doesn't have to be as complicated as we make it. I will address how we can make it a little more easy in some of my future tips on this video, so stick around so you can hear the whole thing. But typically, when it comes down to it, you probably know some of the basics of what you can do to have a healthier lifestyle. Have more fruits and veggies, have more whole grains and less refined grains. Have a balance of foods and have a balance of colors in your diet. Eat regularly throughout the day and cook from home as much as possible. That's kind of like narrowing down what a healthy diet is. The next thing that I discovered in my lifetime learning about nutrition is that when it comes to most things, listen to your body. So if you're feeling hungry, that doesn't mean that you should try to suppress your appetite. That means you should eat food. Just like when you're thirsty, you would drink water. I feel like so often we're told to go against what our body was meant to do, which was protect us and keep us alive and keep us energized. So when you crave carbs, when you crave salt, even when you crave sweets or food in general, your body is most likely telling you something. Maybe if you're craving sweets, it's telling you that you need more carbohydrates. Maybe if you're constantly hungry, even though you've already eaten, maybe you need to balance out the foods that you are eating. Maybe you're eating enough, but you're not eating enough of the right balance of foods, of carbs, proteins, and fats. Those are things to consider and things that we can talk about in another video, but all in all, you should listen to your body, and if it's trying to tell you something and it's screaming at you, then don't ignore it. Next tip is, it's not what you get rid of, it's what you add in. This kind of goes with making nutrition easy. I like to focus with my clients on what they can add into their diet and not what they have to get rid of, because I think in diet culture we're used to seeing get rid of gluten, get rid of carbs, get rid of fats. But really, you don't need to get rid of any of those things unless, of course, you know, you're gluten intolerant or you are allergic to something, then of course you can get rid of that thing. But it's more about what you add into your diet, adding whole grains, adding fruits, adding veggies, adding water. All of those things will make your diet better. The next thing that I have learned is that you're probably getting more than enough protein. Protein is one of those things, it's like the only macronutrient out of the three, carbs, fat, and protein, that doesn't really get a bad rap for anything. Protein is typically a good thing and the thing that we encourage to have more of, and I'm all for that. But here's the thing, you may not need to have an excess of protein unless you're an athlete or someone who really lifts heavy weights or works out a ton. In that case, you should be having a little bit more protein, but that could mean a protein shake after your workout, an extra Greek yogurt with some granola on top, or just having a protein bar. It doesn't mean that you have to go crazy and eat a protein bar for every meal or a shake at every meal, unless again you're trying to maybe gain weight or there's another reason behind it. But if you're a normal human being or even just someone that's a little bit active, just a little bit more protein can go a long way. So the RDA, or the recommended daily allowance of protein, is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. That's not a whole lot. If you're more active, it can be up to 2 grams per kilogram, or somewhere between 1 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. But even then, that's really not much. I'll throw up on the screen some math because your girl cannot do math in her head that easily. It really isn't a ton, and you can easily get this from protein-rich foods like meats and even some Greek yogurt. Or if you're not into that and you want a whey protein shake or a vegan protein shake, I highly recommend the Tone It Up shakes. They're really great, but that can be just enough to add to your diet and supplement in the protein that you need. I'm gonna have to start going faster, or else even this shortened version of this video is gonna be super long. Next thing I've learned is it's better to follow what works for you than the latest fad. So we've talked a lot about fad diets, you know, the get skinny quick schemes that we see out there. But the thing you want to consider when you look at a meal plan or a diet plan or just a way of eating, no matter what that is this something that I can maintain long-term and sustain long-term? If it's not, there's really no point in doing it. So if you lose weight through, let's say, intermittent fasting or a shake or something like that, that's most likely not something that you can sustain forever. So what do you think is going to happen when you go off of that, even slightly? Your body is going to go back to normal and go back to the set weight of what you were doing before that. I would just keep that in mind when you're trying to do something that's like a get skinny quick scheme, or something that promises results really quickly. Most likely what's happening is you're losing a lot of water weight fast, maybe a little bit of fat and muscle with that, which you don't want to lose muscle because that can do a whole lot of other things that we can talk about in another video. You want to start realistic and end realistic and be realistic in between. It's slower progress, but it's going to help your body not go into that starvation mode that sometimes can happen with diet, and it's going to help you really find a way that works for you. The next thing that I've learned in my time as a dietitian and just as a human being is that weight does not always indicate health. So you might have seen out there that there's a new movement that is called health at every size. There can be a lot of misinformation on this topic in itself as well. To summarize it in a really short period of time, health at every size means that just because you are heavier than what is medically deemed as an appropriate weight, which there's a lot of problems with BMI, again, story for another time. It means that even if you go a little bit above what's average, it doesn't mean that you are an unhealthy person. Don't get me wrong, of course there are some people who are heavier and unhealthy, but weight does not indicate that you are unhealthy, nor does being an average weight indicate that you're healthy. You can be skinny and unhealthy, and you can be over the normal amount of weight and unhealthy. And the opposite is true. You can be a healthy weight and be healthy, or you can be a medium weight and be healthy, or a larger weight and be healthy. It's a new concept that I think is tough for some people to grasp, but just know that everyone is a different size and shape, and that's okay. And we don't have to shame people for being a different size than yourself. So be kind on the internet, be kind to your friends and family, be kind to those around you, because there is more to health than just your weight and your size and your appearance. It's so much more than that, and I think that we could all benefit benefit from accepting ourselves and accepting others where they're at, no matter what their body size is. The next thing on my list that I wanted to share is that shaming yourself or others for eating X or Y food does not lead to long-lasting change. I am so tired of seeing blog posts and those Facebook posts and so many things out there that tell you to skip the gluten, skip the dairy, skip this, skip that, stop eating this. This will get rid of belly bloat. Of course, again, disclaimer, if you are intolerant of a food, yes, it will reduce belly bloat if you get rid of dairy if you're intolerant of it. Unless there's an allergy or an intolerance, don't listen to those things that say that you have to eliminate certain foods from your diet. Eliminating a specific category of food from your diet or multiple categories of food can actually cause nutrient deficiencies and cause you to be less healthy than you would be if you just included those things in your diet. The next thing that I've learned is that food impacts your mood. A couple things that I notice really help me when I am feeling down are things that have omega-3s in them. Studies have shown that omega-3s can help boost serotonin in your body and in your brain, and omega-3s can come from a variety of different foods. I can list some on the screen here for you, but that can include salmon, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, almonds, leafy greens, and Greek yogurt, and so much more. That is not an exhaustive list, but definitely a list of foods that can help boost your mood when you're feeling down. And when you're on your period, don't be afraid to include more nuts and seeds into your diet, even leafy greens, and definitely don't forget the dark chocolate. My next tip is listen to your hunger and fullness cues. No, really. Actually listen. I feel like this tip gets thrown around so much and it's hard to really know what to do with it. I have a little feature on the app that I use for my one-on-one clients that once you do a photo log of the food you ate, you can also rate your mood and rate your hunger before and after your meal. So that can be one tangible way to measure hunger and fullness cues, but you really don't have to do this on anything that's like a tangible piece of paper if you don't want to. You can always just kind of go throughout your day and at breakfast ask, how hungry am I? On a scale of 1 to 10. And then after you eat something, measure again. And then throughout your whole day, you can do this until you kind of get a feel for when you're typically hungry and you kind of get in that mindset of measuring your hunger and fullness cues without really thinking about it. Next tip is when in doubt for a snack, have a mix of carbs and protein. So I wanted to include this because I get a lot of questions about snacks and what a proper snack looks like. So for example, a mixture of carbs and protein can be a banana with peanut butter or almond butter. It can also be Greek yogurt with some granola on top or fruit on top. You could also do carrots and hummus or pita bread and hummus for protein, fat, and carbs. There's so many different varieties. If you have any questions on what exactly a protein and fat is, ask me in the comments below. I can always do a future video on this topic to go in more depth on it. Next is when in doubt for a meal, have half your plate vegetables, a fourth of your plate protein, and a fourth of your plate carbs. If you've seen my plate before, they have a great illustration of what this looks like, but it really is simple and easy to have a healthy diet. Just follow this guidelines for meals and follow the previously mentioned recommendations for snacks. And then with that, you'll have a perfect balance of carbs, fat, and protein throughout your whole entire day to keep you full and satisfied. Next thing I've learned is to drink your damn water. This is something that everyone says, but there's so much truth to why it's recommended. Our body is made up of so much water, and water is essential to do basically every function in the body, not only for aesthetic reasons because it helps your hair, your skin, your nails look pretty, and it helps you just, you know, function throughout the day. I don't know if you've ever felt like the feeling of dehydration. I know I feel it all the time in Colorado. I'm at over 7,000 feet elevation, and so I really feel it when I don't have that water to fuel my day, to fuel my workout. Oh man, I totally feel it. But find a way that's fun to count your water, or get a cute water bottle that you love that encourages you to drink more water, or do what I do and drink both water and flavored tea throughout the day. Tea is one of my like secret tips to drinking more water because I'm so bad at it. I love David's tea. For those of you who need some recommendations on what a good tea looks like and what a good brand is, they have loose leaf tea and I think also bagged tea that is just phenomenal, and they have all different kinds, so definitely check them out. My second to last tip is to always be kind to yourself no matter where you're at in your nutrition or health journey. I know it's easy to say that we will love our bodies when we hit a certain weight or when we look a certain way, but what I have found is that you can only get so far in your goals with self-hate and with punishing yourself and shaming yourself and just talking negatively to yourself. Trust me, I've been there, and it definitely did not lead me down a good path with food, and I wouldn't recommend that path to anybody. That's why I'm here helping you on YouTube. Just find a healthy relationship with food and a mindful relationship with food, because that is something that I just wholeheartedly stand by and believe in, and that's what helped me have a healthy relationship with food long term, is mindful eating and focusing on those hunger and fullness cues and using the nutrition knowledge that I have, but also trusting my gut instincts with food. This is something that takes time, but just every time that you think those negative thoughts, just don't judge yourself for that. It's normal, it happens, but try to find a way to reframe those thoughts into something positive, and always, you know, practice that gratitude practice. I'll leave some links to my favorite apps to practice gratitude, to meditate, and to do some thought reframings in the description box below. And my last little lesson for this video is to stop comparing your body to someone else's body. As mentioned before, we can all be healthy at different sizes, and we can all be unique and beautiful at different sizes. It's so easy to see a beautiful Instagram model or see your favorite celebrity or person that you love on YouTube, and they have a six-pack or they have a big booty and you have a flat booty, and they have big fake boobs and you have regular size human boobs, and they have Botox and you have a normal human face. It's just really tough, and not to mention like filters and stuff like that. And it's just really tough for, I think, women and men alike in this day and age to see all that and to see beautiful people on the internet 24/7 and have that to be your comparison for beauty. But we're all beautiful in our own way, not to be like super cheesy, but it's true. And I think just finding ways to embrace your individual beauty is the best thing that you can do. You can't be someone else, and you can't look like someone else's body. Like for me, I cannot look like a 5'10", beautiful tan, dark-haired bikini model, because I'm 5'2" and I'm pale and I'm too lazy to self-tan. You know, it's one of those things that you just have to embrace. And I know it's so much easier said than done. I'm working on it every single day, trust me. But I think the sooner that you embrace yourself where you're at and embrace your own beauty, the happier you'll be. So that is my 2 cents for today. I feel like this video is going to be way longer than I wanted it to be, but I will see you in part 2 of this video, where we will talk about mental health and general wellness as part of my 28 things that I've learned at 28 years old. Comment below if any of these resonated with you. I love to start a conversation. I just don't like just talking to myself and sitting here talking to a camera. I want to talk to you guys, and I will leave a link to the next video when it's out in the end card, and I think I always point the wrong direction. I will leave a link to the most recent part 2 of this video when it comes out in the end card. And yes, comment below, check out the description box for more details on this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.